episode 16, I believe, of Birkenwasser Knits. I'm Kathleen in Birkenwasser, and in this episode I'm going to talk about this sweater that I'm wearing. This is my latest design. It's the Utmost Happiness pullover. And I'm going to also talk a little bit about reading and where does this name for the pullover come from. Yeah, and the indie design gift along is still going on, so I'm going to show you what are my knitting in the gift along. But let's start with this sweater as that's the main thing about this episode. So this is my latest pattern that I published 2 days ago, I think, and this is knitted using Suoma Deco. So this is a yarn by Kässäkerho Pom. It's a Finnish yarn shop that also produces yarn, and she also dyes yarn. So this is 100% Finchie wool, and it's hand dyed with these gorgeous shades. I think if you know Kässäkerho Pom, you can already recognize her color scheme. And yeah, I bought this last summer in Jyväskylä Summer Knit Festival. So if you watch that episode of this podcast after the Summer Knit Festival, I explained that I bought this yarn and I didn't know what I was going to knit. They didn't have enough for a whole sweater in one color, so I got 2 colors and thought that okay, I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna make and maybe make something stranded color work, but it then turned out that I started to think about this mosaic knitting, or I don't know if you call it mosaic knitting when it's also cables, so you just call it slip stitch cables. But anyways, we are working with 2 colors, so it's like striping with 2 colors, and then when you're working with a darker color, you slip the cable stitches, and then when you're working with the lighter color, then you do the cable crossings. So this sweater has this cable mosaic or slip stitch cable yoke, and then it has a relaxed fit. So let me just put a couple of pictures where you can see the pullover better. So, and if you remember from my previous episode and notice the background here, so I'm on my balcony again. It's pretty cold at the moment in Finland, so I'm really glad that I have this warm pullover to wear. But it's so dark that I just couldn't record any video inside. I mean, I don't have studio lighting inside, so I have to have enough daylight to make a video, and it's this time of year when it's just cold and it's dark, and you start thinking that what was wrong with our ancestors. I mean, the Finnish people originate from Siberia, so they took off from Siberia where it's like super cold and dark, and they crossed the Ural Mountains and arrived in Finland and thought that, hey, wow, it's cold and dark. Yeah, let's stay here. So I mean, these crazy ancestors, thank you very much. Yeah, so at this time of year you always wonder why do I not live somewhere else? But of course I hope that then in a couple of weeks or a month or something we will get proper winter, and then of course when you have snow and it's winter and it's awesome. So then I guess that's why we endure this darkness of November and early December. Okay, but this is not a weather podcast, and this is not also a book podcast, but I wanted to talk about reading in this podcast because it relates to this sweater. If you wonder about the name of the sweater, Utmost Happiness, some of you might recognize where the name comes from. And I have the book here. It's this one is in Finnish, but in English it's called The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. And I really recommend this book. It's awesome. But the reason why this pullover is named after the book is because I was listening to this book as an audiobook while I was working on the yoke. So this yoke, it requires attention, so you can't really read a book while doing this, but you can always listen to an audiobook. So I was listening to the audiobook of The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, and when I finished the sweater, I was just looking at it, and I was thinking that, well, this is like my feeling when I saw it, as utmost happiness of seeing that the idea that I had, it actually turned out better than I imagined. So I think this yoke is really amazing, and I didn't know that I could design such an amazing yoke. So I was also surprised that it turned out so well. But anyways, I love this new design, and it made me so happy that I thought I'd name it after the book that I was listening to. And there's also something when you remember the things that you have been doing when knitting. So I remember the book, or what happened in the story every time when I wear this pullover. And there's another big yoke design that I made before this one. Is that the Topaz sweater for making stories, their Jules book, if you remember that. I was listening to another audiobook for that, and always, not for the sample that I made for the book, but the prototype that I made before that. And I was listening to this book by Finnish author Jari Tervo. It's called Matriarkka. I don't know if it's been translated to any other language, but anyways, it's actually about these crazy Siberian ancestors. Yeah, but I remember that book every time I look at the color work of that yoke. So I remember that story of those Siberian people, and yeah, it's fun. I don't know. Do you have any memories of that you remember about when you were knitting an item, and every time you see the finished item, you remember that thing about knitting? Please leave a comment and let me know of your knitting memories. I'd be really interested to know. Yeah, so about the reading and audiobooks, I joined the Amazon affiliate program, and you can get an offer from Amazon for their Audible audio service, and it's yeah, I think it's 4 months at half price or something. So I'll put a link next to the podcast, and there's something, so these affiliate links that I post sometimes, not always, but I always try to, or I always mark them as affiliate links, so you know that if you click on those links and you buy something or sign up for the Audible, then there's a bounty or some percentage of your purchase will come to me. So you will be supporting the making of this podcast and my design business. So as you might have heard, design alone is not enough to make a living, so you need to think of these small ways to add something to it. And this is of course something that there's been a lot of discussion about recently. So designers maybe for one certain instance, they were posting, or several designers were posting affiliate links without notifying that they are affiliate links, and that was of course very unfortunate, as I think it caused a lot of people some bad feelings, and a lot of people were upset about that. So I try to avoid that. So I mark my affiliate links as affiliate links, and also well, I often link to yarn producers and yarn dyers, and I link to my own designs, and I link to other people's designs. So usually I'm not, I'm not paid for these links, so it's just something that I want to support other entrepreneurs in the crafts industry. But then sometimes, of course, I get yarn support from companies, or yarn companies or yarn dyers. So I try to mark these as collaborations with a yarn company, so you know, or I just write that yarn support was received from wherever. But then I work without yarn support. So for this design, for example, I bought the yarn and yeah, but I still think it's a great yarn, and I still want to recommend that even if I'm not paid to do so. So I try to mark those links, and I try to keep the collaborations somehow related to the knitting business, except for the reading, which I think is just something that goes so well with knitting. But I have also received offers to promote something like totally irrelevant, like I got an email asking me if I would like to get a rug, and in exchange to show it on my blog and just link to the producer, and I thought that just really didn't make any sense. Didn't belong to my blog, and well, now the blog is changed to this vlog or video blog, so I'm still doing pretty much the same thing, just in video format, and you're still not seeing collaborations with rug producers, but you will see collaborations with yarn producers, and I like to add the links because I also think that they are a service to you as someone who's watching the blog, because you can then easily click to learn more about the things that I've talked about on video. Yeah, but I think one more thing I wanted to say about this sweater. So if you are in Kuopio area in eastern Finland, I will be there on Saturday. This is, I believe, the 8th of December, and I will be at Kässäkerho Pompom's knit meeting with this sweater. So please come and say hi. The meeting is from noon till 3 p.m. and I'm bringing this one and a couple of other new designs. So it's like a small mini trunk show. And so if you can't make it to Kässäkerho Pompom this Saturday, I'll leave this sweater or this pullover in the shop for, I think, the whole December, and I'll pick it up after Christmas. So you can just visit anytime, pop in and see, try it on, and get some of the Suoma Deco yarns. She managed to do a shop update, I think just the day before I published the pattern, and so I think there's still some Suoma Deco yarns in her online shop, so you can get yarns for the sweater if you want to use the original yarns. But pop in at the shop if you are in Kuopio. It's a really lovely shop, so highly recommend it. But now, as I mentioned, it's the Indie Design Gift Along month, so the Gift Along is still continuing until end of the year, and there's a lot of knitting going on. I love seeing people making something from my designs, so it seems the Vickle braids are hot right now, so both my alignment sweater and my Tauret shawl are being made in the gift along, so a lot of Vickle braids going on. But I'm not making my own designs, I'm working on other designers' designs, so let's have a look at those. Okay, let's have a look at my gift along knitting projects. So this first one, it's the Trooper sweater for my son. The design is by Christelle Little K or Christelle Nihoul, and I'm progressing pretty well, considering that when I started, I kind of, well, Okay, I admit it. I'm not really good at following instructions. So when I started this sweater, I looked at the chart for the arrow pattern, and then I thought, that, okay, it's pretty simple, so I don't need to look at it again. Well, obviously, I missed the fact that the twisted stitches are only on every other row. So I had double the amount of arrows on the pattern or on the shoulders. And I guess that wouldn't have really mattered, except that I didn't have it in the first section, and I only had it in, like, when you start working in the round, then I forgot that every other row is not with the twisted stitches. So what I did is, I think I was only about here, so I had to just rip back the cable section and redo it with a slower pace. And okay, so then I kind of figured out that I might have another mistake, and of course I did. So this front has a really cool triangle pattern that has these purl stitch rows, and of course I forgot to make the first purl stitch row once I was so happy that I got these sides going on. So then I had to go back and add the purl row for that. But then, yeah, so that was the second time I had to rip back a bit. And then, of course, yeah, I misunderstood the instructions for the shoulders. So when the instructions said that once you reach the amount of stitches that you need for the front and the back, I think the instructions said that if your V pattern is not ready, then you need to just continue with that. And I figured that, okay, so you just continue making increases and with the V pattern, and then you worry about the sleeve caps once the V pattern is ready, but that was obviously not the case. So then I think I got to the end of the V pattern, and then I started looking at, okay, that this is pretty wide, and am I gonna really start making the sleeves here? And then I realized that I should have just started the sleeves here, and then just continue with the V pattern. So then I just ripped back here, and so that was the third time that I've been going back and forth with this one. But now I think I'm on the right track. We tried this on this morning, and I'm almost at the point of dividing for sleeves, so everything is going smoothly, I hope, from now on. Yeah. Then the second project that I had in the gift along was this Fouilloy Cowl by Kathleen Sperling. So for this one I learned a new technique, doing the long tail cast on with two colors, so that wasn't really that difficult, and there was a good photo tutorial in the pattern notes, so I was able to learn that. And then there's a little ribbing, and then starts the color work. And I thought I was using my colors the other way around, so I would have white decorations on blue background, a little bit like the pattern picture, but then I noticed that I had made the ribbing with the colors in the opposite order. So I thought, okay, let's see. Yeah, and I had more of the white than I had of the blue, and I realized that then I'm gonna have to use white as the background and blue as the color for the decoration. So yeah, so it looks a little bit like those Villeroy and Boch china that you has. They're also white china with blue decorations. So I kind of like it. I hope my son also likes it, because I was knitting this for my son. I haven't asked him yet what he thinks about it. I was going to just finish one pattern repeat and then ask if he still likes it. If he doesn't, I'm not gonna rip back, and then I'm just gonna give it to someone else. But yeah, so this is making slow progress with this one. This of course requires quite a bit of attention when you're working this, because you need to pay attention to the color work chart all the time. Unlike this one, I've been I've been sitting at some lectures or seminars and just knitting this one, because I don't know if I can say that you don't really need to pay attention that much, as you just heard that I've ripped back 3 times because I wasn't paying attention, but if you know what you're doing, then you don't really need to look at what you're doing. Okay, then my third project is these Reune mitts by Clement. Normally I like to work 2 at a time, but now my circulars are all in some other projects, so I started working these with DPNs. First I think I went with the needle size that was recommended in the pattern, but it just seems so huge. I don't know, maybe it's this alpaca silk yarn that just makes it bigger. I don't know. Anyway, so of course I swatch. What do you mean swatching? I didn't do any swatching. I figured that it's a glove, it fits, but it just turned out so big that I went back a whole millimeter from 4 millimeter to 3, and now I like it. It's nice and snug, and yeah, it looks really good. I like this detail on the cuff, and there's going to be another one here on the wrist, so and a little bit of lace in between. This lace pattern is also actually making me look at the chart all the time. I don't know why it seems to be so difficult to learn by heart. It's not that difficult, but for some reason it's just taking time for me to learn it. So I keep looking at the chart, and that's why this is not progressing, because I have to pay so much attention, and I have so much else going on that I prefer things that don't, or knitting projects that don't require so much attention. Okay, so these were the 3 that I had planned in the previous episode already, so you've seen them, but then I have a 4th one. And this one I have so far only cast on, and I have the first row, but this might be the largest amount of stitches that I've ever cast on, more than 400. And this is going to be Breakwater Shawl by Stephanie Talon, so I added this to my knitting plans recently. So that's the 4th project. And for the Opadu challenge of making something from each of the 8 categories, I'm halfway done, because of course since I have started these projects they're practically done. So yeah, then I need to think of something for the other 4 categories. Okay, so I'm gonna continue working on my gift-along projects, and I'm kind of hoping to add 4 more to make the Opadu, which is to just complete 1 item from each of the 8 categories of the gift-along. But let's see, let's hope that I will at least finish these 4 ones that I have already started. But you will see more of that in the next episode, and yeah, I'm not even sure what the next episode is going to be about, so that's going to be a surprise. But please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episode, and until then, bye bye and thank you for watching.